Take a breath. Welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast, weekly inspiration for self-care and soft living. I am your host, Lisa Hurley. I'm a 5-time Anthem Award winner, second-generation Reiki master and community builder, and I'm the author of the book, Space to Exhale. Through healing modalities like breathwork, affirmations, and meditations, I'll guide you on a life-changing journey to help you know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and create much-needed space to exhale. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hurley, and I'm here to remind us all to slow down, take a breath, say no to hustle culture, and yes to a life of ease. Before we begin today's conversation and welcome today's guest, I want to share a few thoughts with you. Here is today's exhale. So many of us move through the day disconnected from our body, not because we're careless, but because we've been trained to push through, to stay productive, to keep going no matter what. But as the saying goes, the body keeps the score. Your body knows when you're overwhelmed. Your body knows when you're exhausted. Your body knows when you can't relax because you're always in survival mode. And your body knows when you're not listening to it. And if you don't listen to it when it whispers to you, it will make sure you listen by screaming to you, by making you have to slow down and stop. So just for a few minutes right now, let's listen to our bodies. Put your attention fully on how your body is feeling. If you want to close your eyes, you can. You don't have to. Just do whatever feels comfortable for you, but pay attention to how your body is feeling. Don't try to fix anything. Don't try to judge anything. Just notice. Notice your jaw. Notice your shoulders. Notice places you rarely pay attention to, like your elbows or even behind your ears. Pay attention to your feet, your belly, your back. Try to notice any place in your body that you're feeling tension, and mentally talk to it. Ask that part of your body what it's trying to tell you. And ask yourself, what is one small thing you can do to help yourself feel more relaxed and more grounded? You don't need to have the perfect answer. Just the fact that you are asking at all will create room for ease and the healing and relaxation that you need. So give yourself and your body permission to feel relief. Give yourself permission to relax. Because our goal is not to force our bodies into compliance. Our goal is to treat our bodies as a friend. So as we go through today's episode, let's carry that thought with us. And now, let me introduce my friend, today's guest, Lauren Dike. So Lauren is the founder of Harmonna, a performance and well-being consultancy specializing in transforming organizational culture to drive resilient, high-integrity performance. Her work directly addresses the physiological root causes of burnout, disengagement, and execution breakdown to optimize leadership behavior and team dynamics at scale. With a unique foundation that blends analytical depth from her background in finance and elite athletics with human-centric leadership development, Lauren brings a systems-level perspective to organizational change. She partners with forward-thinking companies to enhance communication, decision-making, and performance, especially under pressure, by resolving the unseen nervous system-level disruptions that silently erode productivity and cohesion. Lauren's approach is trauma-educated, evidence-based, and tailored for the complex realities of modern work. Through keynotes, immersive programs, and strategic long-term partnerships, she equips leadership teams with the internal capacity and relational infrastructure to meet business demands without compromising well-being. Her engagements result in stronger leadership pipelines, restored team trust, and measurable gains in performance, all while positioning human sustainability as a bottom line advantage. Lauren, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here and excited for this conversation.
I am too. I am too. And I know you've watched and listened to the podcast before. And those of you who are joining us, if you're joining us again, you know the drill. If you're joining us for the first time, the drill is we're going to start off by taking a couple of deep breaths together. Then we're going to say an affirmation, and then we are going to get right into the interview. And I cannot wait, Lauren, because I have to tell y'all, Lauren and I met each other, oh my gosh, about a year ago. And I did like a group somatic session with her. It was amazing. So I can't wait for us to talk. So again, before we get started, just close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And we're going to take a few deep breaths together. So through your nose, just inhale. Through your mouth, exhale. One more time, inhale. And again, exhale. Yes, and again, inhale. And last time, exhale. Yes. And then that was our moment to exhale. And now we're going to focus on today's affirmation, which is, I am curating a life where my nervous system can exhale. So as Lauren and I go through today's conversation, today is all about somatics and mind-body connection and all of it. So just keep this affirmation in mind. I'm curating a life where my nervous system can exhale. And so, Lauren, before we fully get into it, I just want to ask you, because this is what the work is all about, right? How are you feeling, and how in this moment as we enter this conversation, mentally, physically, emotionally, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I love that question. I love how you started off slow, right? Because we need that to kind of transition from what we're just doing. I love that.
Yes.
I like to describe how I'm feeling sometimes using weather. So describe it as like overcast. So there's some brightness, but there's also a little bit of heaviness. I'm feeling a lot of different things. And I'm going through this phase when I'm trying to hold it because my capacity has expanded, but it's uncomfortable. And so I am with this pleasant discomfort, knowing that this is good for me and my capacity has expanded, but it is uncomfortable and it is a little heavy. And so as you see, I'm kind of
I think
myself right now. Yeah. And so I'm just sitting with that all right now. Yeah.
And it's so interesting because, I do Reiki, as you know, and I often, even sometimes during this show, I'm sitting with my left hand, especially right here, like in, heart chakra, right?
Yeah.
And just, asking myself to, be calm, be present, giving myself some comfort in the moment. Because here's the thing, right? You probably also know that I'm an introvert. And despite appearances, being on camera is not the most comfortable thing for me. So I'm always I'm doing this because I I believe in the work. And at the same time, being on camera freaks me out. So this is it's just comfort. It's just comfort. Yeah.
I'm with you on that too. A lot of people think I'm an extrovert. I am very introverted. I don't like attention on me, even seeing my face on this. I'm like, eh. So I completely agree with that.
Listen, I have on my side, I have it slid over so I can mostly see your.
I can so relate. Yes.
So, you said that there's sort of almost like an overcast, heavy sort of feeling. So, what what do you do? What can you do when you're feeling like that? I actually completely relate. I had not been able to give words and actually verbalize how I was feeling. But when you said like literally feeling overcast like the weather, I'm like, oh, I get that.
Yeah.
So what can, like I love that you're listening to your body and paying attention to it. So on a day like today when you and I and probably a lot of other people are quote unquote feeling overcast, like what can we do in a moment like that?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you said in the beginning around, like, befriending your body and not
Mhm.
trying to fix anything, right? The
Yeah,
way that I'm feeling right now makes sense based on prior life experiences, what I'm currently experiencing, what my brain and body are interpreting as safety versus threat, and if I
hmm,
try to fix it and change it just because it doesn't feel comfortable or I don't feel like I should be acting this way,
right.
the body further protects itself because it further feels wrong. And
Hmm.
so in these moments, what I really just like to do is just kind of like slow down and try to just access curiosity and compassion. It's like,
Mm.
why do you think you're feeling this way? That makes sense. Like really validating how I'm feeling in a world that's constantly trying to invalidate us. And
Yes.
just that alone helps me take a deeper breath and it helps me to
Hmm.
carry it differently. Because I
Hmm.
think that if I succumb to thinking that I need to change or I think I need to fix or make fast actions, that survival energy is carrying me and further constriction, further protection, further stress, right?
Right.
And
And
so
that's we don't want that. Yeah.
we don't want that. Yeah. And so I really just want to come from a place where I'm carrying this. I know that there's a part of me that feels unsafe, but knowing
Mhm.
that I can hold it and orienting to the safety that actually is around me, right? I look out there, the sun is shining, my dog is not barking right now. I have a lot to be grateful with friendships. And so really just orienting to the safety around me and holding what doesn't feel
Yes.
good rather than letting it carry me through my day.
Mm, mhm. I love that. I love that. Holding it rather than letting it carry you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, like you're aware, but you're not succumbing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful way of
Yeah,
saying it. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So as I mentioned, when we started, you and I first met through Iconic Collective. Shout
Mhm.
out to Dr. Jade Singleton.
Love it.
And yeah, we met there at a gathering, I think it was last summer, and then we reconnected when we both appeared in the 92 documentary and for that recording session in New York City. And I'm always like really happy to meet people that are doing similar work.
Mhm.
Like yours might be somatics and mine might be, breath work and Reiki, but it's kind of there's a relation, there's a thread. So my question is like, how do you feel like when you meet people, like myself, like Dr. Jade and so on, knowing that our work is similar and that we are kind of like heading in the same direction, albeit maybe on a slightly different track. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I'm always excited to meet people who are in the wellness space and like
Hmm.
helping people to meet their authentic self. So that's really what healing is. It's right,
Yeah.
just like unfolding the layers and meeting yourself deeper. And what I know about healing and regulation, all of that is it is relational. And so
Hmm.
every person might need something different so that they relate to what needs to be healed. And so whether it's Reiki, somatics, breath work, maybe all three of those, right? Jay does that narrative work. I
Yes.
think it's just awesome that there's so many options for people
Hmm.
to meet themselves where they are and do what resonates with them. And maybe that carries them to something else.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's just really powerful that we're all Black women, right? And knowing how much our community needs this, I felt like
Hmm.
really just grateful to be surrounded by y'all.
Yeah. Same, same. And I first started learned Reiki in when I was still living in Barbados, and I was part of a Reiki community. I'm saying was. I mean, I still am, but I'm not physically there on the ground in Barbados. But what was really lovely for me was meeting others. It's like, oh, we're kind of like kindred spirits. We're doing the same thing. And also, what I love is that all of us, we've collaborated with each other. We have supported each other, amplified each other. We have done it. We continue to do it because it is a non-competitive approach.
Yeah.
So, you're doing somatics doesn't take away, what you do doesn't take away from what I do. I think everything is all additive, and I love that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really love that. So when I was doing a little research on Miss Lauren Dike, found out that your background is so interesting. So you have this finance and elite athletics, performance coaching, organizational culture. So speaking of, disparate threads, tell me how that all happened and came together, because I'm very curious.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, I started off.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. I was very much, my identity was an athlete growing up. So I ran track and, I was going to say track and field. I ran track and I got a scholarship to college, and very much that scholarship was a part of my identity because I always felt pressure. Like if I run bad, I'm going to lose a scholarship, right? Or I have this scholarship, I need to like run us at a certain speed. So it was very much a part of my identity, which was fueling survival already. Like I must do this to feel worthy. I must do this to exist here and have a sense of belonging. And so that sort of urgent, perfectionist, hypervigilant awareness carried through when I got into corporate America. And again, the way I got into corporate America, I remember I was an accounting major, and everyone's like, oh, you have to land a big 4 company. Right. And so my senior year, I got hired at PwC. And I, again, part of my identity, I got a big 4, right?
Of course,
and,
yes.
Yeah, and just put a lot of pressure on myself going into that position, into that role. And to be honest, I was in for a rude awakening because I never had an internship before. I'd always run sports. And so when I got to corporate America, I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And I had a lot of like really hard feedback I had to receive. And I just crumbled. And I started developing really bad anxiety, like every single day, waking up with heart palpitations and crying all the time. And I would switch jobs. And as I got better, the anxiety didn't go away because it was almost like this programming that I learned from sports, but also that perfectionist, right? And so I would say I was in finance because I thought it was the right thing to do. I had a Nigerian father that told his kids, you need to either be a doctor in finance or a lawyer or a pharmacist, right?
Listen, you could have stopped at, I have a Nigerian father. Listen, it is understood.
Right there, stop right there, right?
Yes.
All that pressure there. And so I was doing something because I thought I should be doing it, not because I had a passion for it. So anyway, Juneteenth of 2020, I got laid off. And it was the biggest gift I could have gotten from the universe because it was like, okay, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? And through research, I discovered that diversity, equity, inclusion was something that was really important to me, especially someone that was the only Black woman on her teams and her roles for a lot of those times, right? And so I entered DEI work, and it was something I was very passionate about. It was something I moved up fast in because of my project management background, but still finding that I was having these relational issues in the workplace because of trauma that I didn't heal, still working with heart palpitations every single day, even though I was now working from home, was on a diverse team, right? Doing work I loved. And I couldn't survive in it anymore. There was a point when I woke up and I'm like, I need to stop doing this. I don't know what my next step is, but I need to heal so that work can be sustainable for me and connecting with my passion can be sustainable. And that led me to somehow feverishly studying about the nervous system. And literally every time I was coming across something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel seen. I feel validated. This makes sense. I feel like I have control of my experience, right? And it kind of just kicked off from there. It's kind of like when you're in what you're meant to do, everything kind of kicks off. And so
there's a flow.
It was the flow, right? And not that I'm like this big successful person right now, right? But I'm doing things I love. I'm doing things I'm passionate about. I don't wake up with heart palpitations. I wake up with gratitude, even on my lowest days. And so really, it was the realization that trauma is something that needs to be addressed in a lot of people. And we're calling it anxiety, we're calling it depression, and that's a symptom of trauma. But really, if you don't know how to discharge trauma from your body keeps on looping these same experiences. And it can feel like a helplessness, it can feel like a stuckness. But there are tools out there to help you get through that. And that's what I help people do.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So you just said something very interesting about depression being a symptom of trauma. And I want us to unpack that a little. Now, I just have to say as a disclaimer to everybody watching and listening, to the best of my knowledge, neither one of us is a mental health professional. So bear that in mind. But nevertheless, I want to dig into this because I've been very transparent about having been diagnosed with depression and other mental health conditions. And so, one is often told, oh, well, it's only a chemical imbalance. That is what one is often told. You just introduced that, hey, yes, it could be a chemical imbalance, and it can also be a symptom of trauma. We're not saying, it's not either or, it is both and. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah. And it's a little bit about like nature versus nurture, right? Because yes, it's a chemical imbalance, but when your nervous system is dysregulated, the body becomes imbalanced and chemicals and hormones in the body become imbalanced, right? And so I'm not claiming that somatic work can cure everyone's depression. It helps fine. But what we need to understand is depression is the body saying, all of this activation, all this fight or flight is too much for me. I need to start to collapse and conserve energy. And even in this collapse and conserving energy, I'm speaking to you to say, okay, we need to start to gently mobilize this so I can realize it's safe to come out of this, right? And so for that to happen, you need to be able to feel your body. And I think a lot of the times antidepressant medicine is amazing, right? It can be amazing for people, but if we rely on that to heal, it's numbing the very sensations we need to be in contact with to come out of that, right? And again, I would never tell anyone not to take any depression medicine.
No,
right?
exactly. That's not what you're saying. That's not what you're saying. And I'm glad that you're making that very, very clear, because, and so folks, don't hear what was not said, okay? This is a both and conversation, because and actually, maybe it's great that you and I are the two people having this conversation right now, because I am somebody who has been diagnosed with depression. I am on antidepressants, and I am somebody who's taken one of your somatic sessions and felt better afterwards. So yes, being on antidepressants and doing these somatics, and as you put it, discharging some of the stuck emotions, stuck memories, stuck trauma out of your body is very important. I certainly felt like a brand new woman after we did that session that one day. So folks, definitely it's a both and conversation. One in one in symbiosis with the other. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when we're talking about Black women specifically, depression eventuates differently in us, right? Because most people have trouble sleeping. And it says with us, we become more self-critical, right? We actually are more functional. But it goes back to like intergenerational as well, right? Sometimes our depression is a product of our ancestors being in constant fight or flight, right? And then our systems are depressed. And so there's so many different nuances and explanations around it. But what's important is you find the tools that work for you, right? I think it's just something we don't talk enough about connecting with the body and building what we call the interoception, mind-body connection, how much of a foundational tool that is for everyone.
Yes. I really love that you mentioned that. And I love you. I've heard you use it before, but only just remembered now that you repeated it, about discharging the stuckness from your body. I really love that. And I think it's important. And, I remember thinking a while back that, I used to dance a lot when I would, when I was younger, between, I don't know, let's say 5 up until 25. Right. And, depression definitely came for me more. And I don't know if I was depressed then. I certainly was not aware of it. But certainly once I stopped moving as much, once I've gone back and thought, I've journaled about this. I'm like, wait, when I used to move, I didn't used to feel this anxiety in my chest. I didn't used to feel, all this stuff. And so there is something to be said for literally moving, physically moving stuck emotion and energy and trauma out of your body.
Absolutely. And I think what's important about that too is that to discharge trauma, you have to connect with emotion and sensation. So when you were dancing, probably very connected to that, right? But some men, for example, they will work out to escape their feelings, and they're moving, right? And they're still helping energy, right? But if they're using it to avoid, that's not good either. And so there's a balance of like being able to hold the emotion sensations and move with it, or getting out of the body and moving, right? There's like a difference between those two, for sure.
Right. Wow. Very fascinating. I'm I'm so sad that we only have an hour, because honestly, I'm like, when are you coming back? because there's so much we need to talk about.
Right.
So much. So, something I wanted to talk to you about is you mentioned, Black women and how I don't remember the phrase you used, not metabolize, but deal with or express or experience stress and trauma differently, right? Um, tell us more about that, and what do you wish more people understood about overperformance and overdrive as a survival strategy, especially for Black women?
Yeah. So the first thing I always share is that Black women have the highest allostatic load, or the wear and tear of stress in our body, than any other demographic research in the United States. And this is what they call weathering. So we're actually prematurely aging about 7 years faster than white women. And so we know that the way Black women our relationship with stress is almost more normalized than other demographics. And it makes sense because of the intersections of our identity, right? We're at the intersection of sexism, racism, and anti-Blackness. And so that alone causes a hypervigilance that no other demographic can relate to and understand.
Yeah.
And even if it is somewhat trauma, it's still a reality because trauma feels real in your body. And so I think what's interesting is that a lot of us are successful. We have a lot of Black women doctors and in higher education, but a lot of that success is driven from those survival identities of I must, I need, I can't because I am Black, right? And if your success is driven by survival, then you have all this survival energy and constriction running in you. It's not sustainable, and that's why burnout happens.
Right.
And so the question is, how do we create systems that integrate healing as a requirement for us? Because we know that this is something that we're struggling with, and it's a normal response to our intergenerational and current reality. But also, how do we equip ourselves with tools to connect more with our authentic selves, right? What essentially us as Black women are being taught or conditioned to believe is our authentic self isn't good enough, from our hair to our skin tone to our bodies, right? So how can I connect with my authentic self and perform from there? And then it's sustainable because it's coming from expansion. It's coming from relaxation. And this is easier said than done. But that is what, and a lot of the work that I do help with my clients, Black or white, right? How do I start acting from my authentic self and not these survival identities that were formed because I needed them to feel safe at a time when I couldn't contain these emotions, I couldn't contain these feelings. But now that I'm an adult, I can hold not being liked, I can hold not being perfect, and I don't have to let all of those different identities take the lead. So I feel like I didn't really answer your question.
No, that's fine. Actually, you did, and it's the conversation can go wherever it needs to go, right? And that's where it needed to go, because I ask all of my guests, okay, what is a passage, a line or a passage from Space to Exhale that resonated? And it's interesting to me that the one that resonated to you is an invocation that keeps repeating, may I remember who I am, may I remember who I am. And so what you just said completely explains why, okay, that's why Lauren chose that passage, because I was going to ask you, but you just explained it, because it's about coming back to yourself.
Coming back to yourself, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. So we've been dropping some words. We've been dropping somatics and some other words. And I think most people have a vague idea of what somatics are. But you do somatics and somatic experiencing, and you draw, like there's a line of demarcation between the two. They're not one and the same. So can you explain for us a bit more as we get more into this conversation? What are somatics? What is somatic experiencing? What is the difference? Tell us all about it.
I appreciate this question. So somatics just means of the body. It comes from the Greek word that means of the body. So anytime we move the body, it can be a somatic practice. So dancing, lifting weights, walking, breathing, those are all somatic practices, right? And so at the introduction of my work, I do somatic flows. So I actually teach them in yoga studios. Sometimes I do them online, right? It's literally just using a mix of breath work, body work, and movement to regulate and build flexibility in the nervous system. Because what happens is when we have tension, when we have chronic stress, there's energy that builds up that needs to move. And it also helps release tension from the body. And through doing that, it helps the nervous system realize, okay, like I don't always have to be tense. I can relax. It's building flexibility, what we call, right? But that alone is not enough to discharge and heal trauma. So somatic experiencing is done more of like a clinical one-on-one setting. And it is a naturalistic approach to healing trauma. So when we go through trauma, and we need to level set on what trauma is anything that is too much, too soon, too fast, or not enough for your unique body. So it's not about the event. It's not about what someone else thinks is trauma. It's how your body is experiencing that. And when we go through trauma, our body will either go into constant hyperarousal, which means like constant anxiety, feeling constant like anger, or hypoarousal, which is more like depression, maybe a freeze mode, feeling stuckness. And it's lost its ability to pendulate between the two. Because what regulation is, it's not being calm all the time. It's being able to pendulate and modulate between different experiences and not get stuck. And so through this somatic experiencing would help the body to connect with sensation, emotion, which is harder than it might seem to most people. A lot of people are so blocked off from that. And we help them to release some of this survival energy, and the body starts to gain more capacity to pendulate between the two. So it's really building this coherence and regulation in the body. And so again, we do use movement, but it's not like these intentional movements and flows. It's more about really connecting with sensation, emotion, image, behavior, affect, meaning, and really allowing the body to do what it needs to do to complete what wasn't completed when they went through trauma, right? Because trauma causes this immobilization in the body, this stuckness, because it was too much. I got stuck in it.
Yeah.
And so on a high level, that's what I like to say, because I think especially this day and age on TikTok and Instagram, people are like, oh, if you're feeling anxiety, just shake. And it's like, yes, but there's also deeper work that needs to be done to connect with the emotions, sensations, and the capacity to be with the sensations of anxiety, right? And so there's a spectrum of what somatic work is. And I do both the movement only, but also the more clinical work as well.
Oh, wow. I love that. And I'm so happy that you mentioned TikTok, which, mind you, I love University of YouTube, and I love University of TikTok. However, I'm seriously, I really do. I've learned a lot from them both. But what you said is so important, because in a lot of cases, there's only so far you can go, only so much you can learn, only so deep you can get to.
Right.
With TikTok or YouTube, and it's not saying that they aren't useful,
right?
But again, like the somatics and antidepressants discussion that we were having just now, absolutely go on TikTok. I learned a couple of things, but then call Lauren, call Lauren, or right, like the other day, I did a show with Dr. Day, whom you also know.
Yes.
And I was like, listen, it's because we were talking about menopause at the time. And I'm like, oh, I think I need to reach out to Dr. Day and get some of this stuff handled, because you can do your research as much as you want. But at some point you have to, if you're serious about the healing, you have to go to an expert.
Yes.
Right? You have to go to an expert. And I love that you say, yes, there's movement, but there's a deeper level. Yes. And that it is very difficult to do that on your own.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
And a large part of healing is being witnessed, right? And having co-regulation, someone else who's regulated. And so even myself, I still have a somatic practitioner, because on my hardest days, I need to be witnessed and regulated with. And so I think a lot of people get overwhelmed when they see those TikTok videos, they try to do it by themselves. And it's like, maybe you just need to be witnessed and you need support. Nothing's wrong with that. Yeah.
And also, what if let's say, I don't know, somebody is doing a somatic exercise that they've seen on TikTok, and then they have one of those like life-changing healings. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Burst into tears, they're crying for 45 minutes. They can't, because all
flooding,
of that, right, it's flooding out of their body. So what about those kinds of situations? Like, what do people do then? Because they need someone like you to help not only witness, but guide.
Yeah.
Right? But guide them through and let them know they're going to be okay. Because I don't know about you, but I've had, experiences like that. You can feel like, okay, this is the end. Like, it does not feel good.
Right? Yeah. I had one of those in a breathwork ceremony. And the person wasn't equipped to help me. So it was very scary. Yeah. But for sure.
Wow. So listen, you have a resource that's called Surviving Modern Work, which I love the title, right? I don't mean to even laugh. I mean, it's funny, but it's funny because it's not funny, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of us are still trying, raise his hand, are still trying to survive modern work. So, um, you in that resource, you talk about fight, flight, freeze, fawn, shutdown. Um, and so if somebody is going through one or all of those,
Mhm.
um, what can be like their first step toward, I don't know, like regulating themselves or noticing that pattern without judging themselves? A
Yeah.
lot of people, I think, might not even realize, oh, I'm in a freeze pattern, I'm in a fawn pattern. Like, how do people realize it in the first place, even?
Yeah. So this answer could take this is actually entire
Yeah.
workshops on this.
And
But
now we're going into episode 2.
let me see if I can answer this in a high level. Okay, so
Right.
I think most people don't understand that there's 5 different survival states, right? Most people just think they
Mm-hmm.
have anxiety or depression, right? But there's
Mm-hmm.
blended states too that are like a mix of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And to shift your body out of that or to regulate or to soothe someone that's anxious, which is like flight mode, needs
Mm-hmm.
something different than someone that's in freeze mode, which is like a mix of what we call sympathetic and parasympathetic energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? In fact, if I give someone the same movement for flight that I would for someone that's in shutdown, the person in shutdown is going to get severely overwhelmed and shut down even
Right.
more, right?
Right.
So I think the first step, and I have a lot of free resources on my website, and actually
Mm-hmm.
a 3-part email series if people want that, is understanding how to pinpoint what survival state you're in and how to shift out of that through using somatics, right? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
going to bring you some relief.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's important to note is then again, we don't want to just like feel these survival states and get rid of it through movement. We need
Mm-hmm.
capacity to be with those sensations to teach the body emotional overwhelm isn't physical threat. Because that's the thing, the body interprets physical overwhelm, I mean, emotional
Right.
overwhelm the same way it does physical threat. And so we want
Mm-hmm.
to gain capacity to be with those charges and
Mm-hmm.
hold them differently, right? And so that deeper work, it can be done in little bouts. So if I'm feeling anxiety, what do I usually tend to do? Do I tend to just go in my head, or do I tend to overwork? Can I take just 30 seconds, just sit with the sensations
Mm-hmm.
and breathe with them?
Yeah.
That's what's we call building your capacity to be with it. And you want to do it in short bouts because healing has to be
Mm-hmm.
slow and titrated because again, if you go fast, you're going to overwhelm your system. And so
Yeah.
those are simple things you can do. If I feel the need to people please, that's fawning, right? What do I
Mm-hmm.
usually do? I usually lean forward. I usually say, "Are you okay?" Let me just take a second to lean back in my chair, put my
Mm-hmm.
hands on my lap, and just take a couple of breaths, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
something very discreet. It's something that's not groundbreaking, but
Right.
not enough of us are doing that, slowing down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say the 2 most powerful things you can do is understand what survival state you go to most and learn
Right.
how to use somatics to shift out of that, to shift what we call that state.
Mm-hmm.
And then also learn to be with the charge of those survival energies so that you don't act from them, but you can hold them differently. I think those are 2 powerful things you can just start with.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And folks, Surviving Modern Work, Lauren, that's available on your website. Am I correct?
Yes. Let me,
Yes.
oh, I think I can't join it's harmonna.co. And if you go under, I think either resources or shopping. And then
Yeah.
also I have a 3-part email series with videos showing people how to move out of that. And that's free. And again, on
Awesome.
the website, harmonna.co, you can find
Yep.
that free resource there.
Yeah, I have awesome. Thanks for letting everybody know. And folks, those of you who are watching, you can see the website at the bottom of your screen, right?
Yeah.
www.harmonna.co. And so another resource, you're full of resources, by the way, which I love. Another resource you have is the Angry Black Woman Aftercare resource. So
Oh,
do
you
tell us
found it.
about that.
Okay. I didn't actually know that was still showing, but it's okay. That's still there. So basically I did this event called the Angry Black Woman. And it
Right,
was
right, right.
really about moving the emotions of anger through us. Because that's one of the thing that separates us from regulation and dysregulation is sometimes anger, because it's like the
Mm,
most accessible survival state, right? But a lot of us suppress
yes.
it. And so we did a big event around that. And that aftercare resource was again essentially what I was just sharing, telling you how to like recognize the state you're
Mhm,
in, what
mhm,
somatic movement, breath work you can do to shift out of it. And then again, how to gain more capacity to be with the charge of anger, right? To not suppress it, but to be with it and to express it through your body. And so that is what that is. And yeah, again, really powerful. I didn't realize it was still up there, but for people to access.
Okay. Listen, girl, I be doing my research, right? I'm like, I want to know everything. I remember once I had I won't name her name, but I had an author on that I was interviewing her, and she was like, "Wait, you actually read the book?" Yes, I read the book. I read the website. I read the LinkedIn post. I read everything.
Yes.
No, it's like it's so important, and also it's just interesting because a lot of us know just like one aspect of somebody's work. I met you in one specific context, but there's so much more. Like that's why I was fascinated. I was like, wait, finance, elite, athletics, all of this stuff. And I, as an interviewer and a human being, as a human being and an interviewer, I actually really love learning about the other people's sort of multi-layeredness and their multiplicity. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
So and of course, I have done as a Black woman who has been accused of being angry, right? And many of us have. I was just fascinated when I saw it, and I'm like, wait, there's a resource for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. And I was so proud of that event because it's like, yeah, I have been called an angry Black woman as well. And it was something weaponized.
Yes.
When we deserve to be angry about a lot of things, right? And it's something that has evoked shame and self-criticism. And so for a way to just say, I'm an angry Black woman. And let me transmute some of this in this session. It was a really powerful thing to do.
Yes,
so yeah.
I love that the goal was and is transmutation. And I see that in a lot of the work that you do. It is about getting beyond stuckness to transmutation. And I really, really love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you do a lot of work with organizations, with leaders. Of course, you also do work with, individuals, people just dealing with their own individual body. But, individuals go to work, right? So what does a healthier workplace look like that actually supports, I don't know, somatic wellness is a term, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. What does that look like? What can organizations and leaders do to support that systemically?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, they have to realize that it's a foundation for everything, for engagement, for retention, for conflict. If people are dysregulated, they're acting from survival identities, excuse me, brain burp, and which means they are by default disconnected from not only themselves, but others. They can't connect to others, right? So how are you going to form a connected culture when most of the people are disconnected? And so first is understanding that as a baseline, also understanding as a baseline, if the body is dysregulated, cognitive load is going to be lower and higher, and cognitive recovery is going to be lower because the brain is in high alert. The prefrontal cortex is offline, right? And so really just understanding the neurobiology of like how this is going to make my workplace better. And so I think there's things as simple as before meetings, starting with what we call transition. So what we did, like a couple of deep breaths, maybe just orienting to your surroundings, not just going straight into it, right? Doing a check-in with people. Those type of things help to like lower the pace, right? And add a little bit more recovery into people's days. I think managers need to be trained in how to provide co-regulation to their staff, right? Because research shows that managers have more of an impact on their employees and therapists and spouses, right? So if I'm a manager and I'm dysregulated, that is contagious. I'm spreading that onto my team. So how do I first and foremost regulate myself, but then host meetings, hold spaces in ways that feel safe for others? That is true psychological safety, right? Physiological safety. And so I think those two things are really powerful. And then I think the other thing that's going to be talked about more and more as we understand women's bodies is that the female nervous system is much more sensitive and cyclical than the male nervous system, which means we need more recovery we need more oxytocin in our lives, because oxytocin is what regulates us versus dopamine, which regulates men. And how can we build our calendars and our days around that so women aren't constantly working past their capacity, right? We need to talk about the female nervous system and how it differentiates, but then also premenopause and menopause and what that's doing to us, right? Because if we're not talking about this, we're excluding the woman experience in the workplace, and women are going to continue to leave and exit and become entrepreneurs, right? Because we can't sustain in this workplace environment. And so I didn't really give answers, but I gave more conversations, because obviously it depends on the capacity and all of that.
Of
but
course.
I think a focus on slowing down, nervous system literacy, equipping managers, and really focusing in on the female nervous system is going to be really transformational for a lot of companies that aren't doing it.
Right. Oh, wow. I love all of your answers, because they're so multi-layered, like there's so much depth in them. So thanks for, oh my gosh, just blessing us with everything that you know. Now of course. So it appears to me that you are a music lover like I am. Again, I did my research, but anyway. But so on a serious note, what role do music and joy and pleasure and all of that play in helping our bodies remember that, survival mode is not the only option out there?
Yeah. So music is a good, what I call, resource. And so essentially a resource is anything either inside the body or external to your body that helps you feel a sense of pleasure, loveliness, in a sense, helps you shift out of that constriction state and into expansion. So you might notice when you listen to music, first of all, you're singing. So you're giving your vagus nerve a little bit of toning, because the vagus nerve is our brake on stress, and it can shut down when we're stressed. So it helps to exercise the vagus nerve. You might feel like a loveliness or an expansion or excitement, right? Again, something very regulating to the body. And so whenever we can connect with our senses, actually connecting with our sense of smell is the most powerful, because it goes straight into the prefrontal cortex. So like if you get aromatherapy and just sniff it, right? That's very regulating. But if we can connect to sound, right? Sight, taste, all of those things are going to connect us deeper with sensation and feeling pleasant in our bodies, which what regulation is. It's putting us into what we call our ventral vagal nervous system state, which is our most connected state.
Yeah. Oh my God, love that. Speaking of sense of smell, what are some of your favorite scents? I'm just curious, because I'm a big, let me get some essential oils.
Yeah.
Let me get some incense going. What are some of your favorites?
I'm very much like a basic girl. So into like vanilla, I like lavender, I like sandalwood. And then I have friends, of course, that make these blends, and I have no idea what's in it, but I'm like, it smells lovely. But yeah, anything that's either like citrusy or maybe like warm and vanilla-ish. How about you?
Big vanilla girl as well. Vanilla, lavender, rose.
Rose, I like,
oh my gosh, Rose Otto. Absolutely love it. I could just like bathe myself in it, absolutely love stuff like that. And then just frankincense and myrrh, like those resin incenses.
Yes.
The resin type ones. Yeah. That feels like you're in a cathedral.
Yeah. I like those too. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love them. And I was like, oh, is this why churches have, they always have incense, right? All the churches I know, at least, right? It's not just a Catholic thing or a Protestant thing or whatever. A lot of them use basically, I'm going to get heat for this, but basically a version of smudging, right?
Yeah.
Just bear with me, people, bear with me, right? But you understand, it's like using scent and smoke as a cleanser and as, sort of means of upliftment as well,
That's exactly,
purifier of space.
Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Purifier of space. So I love that. So still on the music front. So if burnout, if you were to create like an anti-burnout or burnout recovery soundtrack, what would it sound like? Or what kind of songs would you include?
Oh, that's a good question. And I had the most eclectic music taste. And the other thing about me is like I never really remember song titles. I'm just like, I know I love this song. Right. And
Well, if I
so,
put you on the spot, that's okay. You can give us like a playlist afterwards. That's all right.
but I can tell you, like, I like a mix of like 1960s like music. So like the Supremes, Temptations, right? All
Mm.
of those artists. But then I'm very much into like the 90s. And so Aaliyah,
Oh, I love
Salt and
her.
Pepper, like all of those R&B and even rap artists
Mm-hmm.
heavily on rotation. And then I like some indie rock and some indie music. So Tegan and Sarah,
Nice.
Passion Pit, and then some like, you know, those 80s movies that I don't know any of the titles, but just the 80s movies you would find in any of those popular movies. Just good feel good vibes.
Why are you taking
But
me all the way back to like going to Blockbuster? That's what.
yeah.
Am I in a Blockbuster right now? Is my the movie that I want not available because somebody else already took it? I don't.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, for me, I'm the type of person, if I'm watching a movie and I hear a song, I like Shazam and I'm like, what is that? Right. I'm just
Right.
I get very moved by music. And I listen to a lot of different types. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Same here. And I listen to a lot of like I don't what are they called? Those Gregorian monk chants.
Oh, interesting.
I listen to a lot of those because again it sounds holy, it sounds relaxing. It's in Latin for the most part, so I don't
Mm.
understand most of what they're saying, but I can feel what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I also believe that sound has the ability to cleanse a space, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's why we do a lot of space clearing involving bells or knocking or something on something or drums, because the vibration is going to clear the space and clear stuckness, right? It's
Yeah.
a version of I don't know, energetic somatics, right?
It definitely is, because what is the body is like 90% water. And so
Yeah,
the sound helps move the water and creates movement. Yeah, absolutely. I love
absolutely.
sound therapy. Yeah.
Yeah. I would. That's something I would really like to do. I want to get into doing like those crystal bowl thingy. Do you
Yeah.
do that, by the way?
I don't, but you met my friend Mylisa.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah,
Oh,
she does that. Yeah.
oh my gosh,
And
I
it's
love her.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes. I remember meeting her at that first event that we went to last year. Where right.
Mhm.
You were doing your somatic session, and Dr. Dade and I were talking about my book, and my Lisa and I met when we were all like, we were breaking bread together, and
Yeah.
I just absolutely hit it off. I'm like, you're my
I
Lisa.
know. I'm like Lisa and my Lisa.
My Lisa. Absolutely. Listen, just you meet somebody sometimes and you're like, okay, this is a good person. They have a beautiful
Yeah.
spirit. They just positive energy. That's how she struck
Mhm.
me for sure.
Yes, that's her for sure. Yes.
Yeah. I must reach out to her because I haven't I haven't seen her since then. But
Yeah.
she like I've always remembered her fondly.
Yeah. Yeah. You should definitely reach out. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're coming up to time soon. So I have two questions for you.
Okay.
One is, what's coming up for you? What are you working on? Tell us about all the newness, all the plans that you care to share. Tell us all of that, and where people can find you, because I know that you are probably cooking up some amazing stuff. So tell us about it.
Yeah. So I think something I'm really excited about that's coming up is a kind of a group coaching collective.
Mm,
Myself, Dr. Day, and
mhm.
Dr. Jade Singleton are coming up with specifically for Black women. And it's going to be around learning how to take a somatic approach to your health.
Mm,
Dr. Jade Singleton does a narrative approach, so more
mhm.
cognitive. And then Dr. Day, of course, is like amazing on hormones, right? She's a
Yes.
naturopathic doctor. So hormones, premenopause, menopause, just dealing with
Mm.
all of those and really taking accountability of your health. And so that is going to launch likely in October, but we're going to have an info session end of August.
Okay.
So if people want to look out for that. I'm always offering one-on-one coaching. My next spots open up August 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you want to learn how to take more of a body-based approach to stress and trauma. Somatic coaching, somatic experiencing is a great way to just start to learn to be more connected with your body. And I think that's it for now. I'm always doing events all around Atlanta. I'm a Lululemon ambassador. And so I'm always doing at least one event a month. And so those are always on my website, or if you subscribe to my newsletter, I always share them there as well.
Okay. And how do people subscribe to your newsletter?
So if you go to harmonna.co, all the way at the bottom, it'll say like join the community, and you can just put your email in. Yep. And you can join that way.
Awesome. Okay. And so last question is, what does having space to exhale mean to you right now?
As I exhale.
Right.
I think it means intentionally slowing down and just checking in, and that's it. Because if you keep on going, or if you keep on staying in your head and not checking into the body, it becomes this loop of this like doing and doing and doing. And so I think it does require intentionality. There's a lot of people that say, I can't meditate, I can't sit still and meditate. Okay, what can you do? Just for 10 seconds, can you just slow down and come back to yourself? Or maybe you need a little bit of movement before you do it. But you will notice an exhale once you take the time to start to do it, if that makes sense. Like I was someone that for years was always trying to do breath work, meditation. And I was like, I don't get it. I'm not resonating. But once I really started to connect with my body, I can tell when I'm taking little exhales during the day of when I'm relaxing, right? And it becomes addictive because you're like, okay, I know this is what I need. But it just starts with one small practice. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. I just think it's so important to, the combination of somatics and exhaling and taking time to tune into the body, tune into your feelings, not deny them, right? But tune into them and then find a healthy way to discharge them, as you say, if they need discharging, right? If they need discharging. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But thank you so much for all of your wisdom and all of the tips. I definitely, if you're open to it, would love to have you back.
Yes, and you're an amazing interviewer. So thank you for the thoughtful questions.
Thank you. Love. So listen, that is it for now, folks. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined us. Make sure to go and follow Lauren everywhere. Go to harmonna.co. She's on Instagram at Harmonna Wellbeing. She's on LinkedIn. She's everywhere. So make sure to go follow her, book a session, right? Y'all know what to do, right? And just keep abreast of everything that she's doing, because now in this time that we're in, especially, it is so stressful. And I feel like a lot of us are holding our breath and holding our emotion. And so we need, right, connect with somebody like Lauren and work with her to help you be the best you and be the healthiest you. So thanks again to everybody who's joined me here on Space to Exhale, the podcast. Goodbye for now. And remember, you deserve time and space to exhale. See you next time. Thank you for joining me on Space to Exhale, the podcast. If today's conversation resonated with you, please subscribe, follow the show, and leave a review. Every rating, review, comment, and share helps more people discover these conversations about rest, well-being, healing, and living with greater ease. Join me live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, or catch the replay wherever you listen to your podcasts. To stay connected between episodes, visit spacetoexhalebook.com, subscribe to the Gentle Breath newsletter, and explore my award-winning book, Space to Exhale. Until next time, remember, you do not have to earn rest. You do not have to justify your joy. You do not have to prove your worth. You are already worthy of love, worthy of care, and worthy of having time and space to exhale. Ashe.